You're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get into our discussion now. Now, the rising insecurity in the country, especially in the southeast, is a source of concern for stakeholders and the general public. There have been attacks against security agencies in the 5 states that make up the region. Courts, as well as offices of the Independent National Electoral Commission, have also been attacked and set ablaze. The security of lives and property is paramount, and how can this be ensured in the southeast as well as other parts of the country? That's a big question that everyone is asking. So I have in the studio with me to help make sense of all of this development, lawyer and public affairs analyst Fred Nzako. Fred, good morning.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning. Good to be with you.
Exactly. Well, I know you've been following developments in the country, especially in the southeast.
Yes.
I wonder what you make of this development. It has never been this bad. I wonder what you make of all of these developments.
Mike, it has never been this bad, but it has become so terrible. And the only common thing that everybody, not just Fred Nzako, made out of it is failure of governance, pure and simple. Who has the monopoly of control of security agencies in Nigeria? It is the presidency. Who gives orders on what will happen? It is the presidency. Who has the authority to bring in foreign assistance in places and in cases where Nigerian system is inadequate? It is the federal government. All the security agencies in Nigeria report, they are all federal agencies, and they report to the commander-in-chief. So once that agency, once that institution called presidency has failed, that is the result of what you are saying. Because it is a lazy and unnecessary layback to just say it is this person or that person, when investigation has not been conducted, when intelligence has not been utilized to know exactly what is going on. It will happen once, happen twice, happen 3 times, and it has become a free fall. Nigeria is now on fire. The southeast that hitherto was very peaceful has become a hotbed of killings, murder, assassination, and arson. And up to today, nobody, not a single person, can you put your finger on and say this is the cause. But so what does it tell you? We have in the military alone, we have the Directorate of Military Intelligence, we have the Army, we have the Navy, we have the Air Force, we have the National Security Organization, the SSS, we have the police, and we have every other organization that will be able to say, conduct thorough investigation and let us know who are causing this problem.
And what is responsible.
And how to copy it. Nigeria has never been this bad. Now look at the way the country is today. As if we are now on a race to insecurity. I mean, my region is more insecure than your region.
Yours.
I mean, it has become an issue of negative pride that, oh, you can't come out in my region, you can't come out in my state. No, my state is worse. How on earth have we gone down to this level that we are now competing in who becomes
is worse off?
It is worse off. Instead of competing in development, we are competing in insecurity. And there are states in Nigeria. None of the governors can invite foreign aid. Can invite foreign assistance on security. None. The Constitution lays it squarely at the footstep of the federal government. And the question is, what is the federal government doing? How can this thing last for this long and government has not been able to curb it? Meanwhile, the whole essence of governance is security of lives and property of the people. Yeah. Because nothing goes on under a situation of insecurity. Now, apart from the wanton destruction of lives and property, there is also the feeling of insecurity, which no man can come out and be free, in which case it has also affected private productivity of the individuals in these states. Because you can't go to farm, you can't go to work, you can't go to your market, you can't freely go anywhere, you can't associate, you can't do anything. So This is, as we speak today, this is the planting season. How many people are able to go to farm? And if you cannot go to farm when you are supposed to plant, when are you what are you going to harvest when it is harvest time? And that is why prices in the market of even the basic staples keep rising, keep skyrocketing. It's not as if the land has dried up or the land has become infertile. It's not as if the people,
or if there's drought, there's no
drought, there's no national disaster, and there's no natural calamity. Instead, what we have is leadership disaster, and it is affecting every gamut of life of Nigerians, every aspect. Tell me where is security in this country anymore? Where? And all the formations are still there. It's not as if we have disbanded all the security agencies. None. They are still there, functioning and being funded. What we have been seeing that there is even an increment in the budget allocation for security. And the more you budget money for security, the more insecurity takes over the place.
All right. Now,
so it's a very worrisome development.
It's really worrisome, Fred, I must say. But as it is right now, we often talk about government being closer to the people. If we have to narrow down to the southeast, where we have the state governments who know the people, feel the pulse of what is going on, and is closer to the people, what roles can state governors play in a situation like this? Because recall that analysts and even security agencies themselves have said that it is not only military or coercive solutions that will solve these issues. Yeah. There are other areas of dialogue and all of that. What can state governors do in this regard?
Mike, the major challenge we have now is that who do you dialogue with? Because I had wished, and I mean the governors themselves had wished that they knew who are doing this and their motive for doing this. When there was challenge in the South, when the gave rise to MEND and the rest of them, they had leadership. They had genuine grounds. They said our region is being messed up and we are not seeing anything. Meanwhile, we are the golden goose that lays the golden egg. And then the rest of the country is enjoying, and we are suffering with environmental degradation and the rest of them. And they stood out. When they were invited for dialogue, they came out and dialogued. And that was what led President Yar'Adua to institute the concept of amnesty. Yeah. And then there was attention given to that region, and we had results. Who are you going to dialogue with today? Because government should be able to tell us who are causing these problems. And because of that failure, it has led to a lot of conspiracy theories, to the extent that some people are even fingering government. The government is the one bringing the mercenary to create the chaos in the southeast, to tag the people a bad name and then knock them down with a sledgehammer. And do you blame anybody who raises such conspiracy? Because it beats anybody's imagination that a whole federal government of Nigeria, the giant of Africa, will not be able to tell the citizens who are causing this problem and how best to tackle the problem and bring solution. Weeks, months, going into years now. And don't forget that General Sani Abacha said sometime that if any insecurity situation lasts for a certain length of time, that the government knows about it.
More than 24 hours.
That the government knows about it. So, if such a person could make such a statement and you think Nigerians have forgotten, so Nigerians generally are pointing accusing fingers at federal government. If they don't know, let them know it now. That the people are pointing accusing fingers at them, that they are the ones that brought in mercenaries from nowhere to come and sack the people of Southeast, ostensibly because of the problem, the perceived problem they have with the indigenous people of Biafra. But they must know that not all people from Southeast are members of IPOB. They must know. And this thing that is happening today is affecting everybody in the Southeast. You cannot say because you are hunting IPOB members and then you sack the entire Southeast. Tell me, every day there are cases of killings and wanton destruction of properties. It is the duty of government. Otherwise, the people will begin to arm themselves and resort to self-help in a situation that happens what do you think will happen to the country?
It becomes a chaotic situation.
A terrible chaotic situation, and Nigeria will become a banana republic.
All right, now moving on, if we also see the trends from the southeast where police formations are destroyed, attacked, and so in some cases we hear the armory of the police are looted, police stations burnt down, INEC offices burnt down, and all of that. What do you make of a situation? What do you think is the trend, and what consequences would that portend?
Well, it's a very terrible situation because any country that tends to, in any environment or situation where the police, especially the police, are harassing the way and manner they are being harassed in Nigeria today, that country is opening its flanks for massive insecurity. The police, the primary responsibility of the police is to secure the people. Now, the people that are supposed to secure others, they walk while others sleep with their two eyes closed. They are now the ones being attacked by the so-called unknown gunmen. For how long will these gunmen be unknown?
In fact, on Twitter now, there's this hashtag UGM. UGM. You be like, what is UGM? Unknown gunmen.
For how
They're having
long,
a nickname now.
For how long will these gunmen be unknown in a country where we have government and we have security agencies? The police themselves should step up their ante because they are now in the eye of the storm. Not only are people expecting them to perform, they are also being attacked. Now, if you go to any police station in the southeast and you say you want to lodge a complaint, they will say, go and bring that person. Because no policeman will be boldened to go and even effect arrests. And you know what it means in the whole civil environment? Massive chaos. To the extent that even small hoodlums who ordinarily would have maintained some level of decorum are now emboldened. Everybody now becomes a hitman. Everyone now becomes
a warlord within their territory.
A terror unto others. Because the institution of policing, the institution of coercion, the institution of sanction has failed. And it should worry not only government, because it worries the people, it also worries the international community. And the international community said they are ready to render assistance to Nigeria. But the question is Nigerian and Nigerian leaders, are they ready to receive this assistance? And if they are not ready to receive assistance, why are they not ready? Why are they not willing? Why are they not calling for that? Because we cannot claim that we are on top of the situation. When somebody is killed, the rest we see, government will commiserate with the family and then guarantee that the people will be apprehended. Another man is killed, and it goes on and on and on.
Well, the president had called for the AFRICOM to be relocated to Africa to help face some of these issues. The AFRICOM is the Africa Command of the United States as a way of helping African countries and especially Nigeria.
Yeah, he has called for that, but has the Americans started moving in that direction? That is the question. He has called for that. And if they don't see, if the United States do not see sincerity in your call, will they come? There has to be sincerity of leadership. There has to be genuine sincerity to solve this problem. There has to be such effort that will even change the mindset of the people.
All right.
So that there will be coordination between the leaders and the led, so that when you now deploy intelligence, it now yields results.
And there is direction.
And there is direction.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred Nzako, for your time and insight into all of this. We pray and wish for a better Nigeria as we get along. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you. Right.